on here for at least an hour. Give you some, see what we talking about. Let me get all my stuff prioritized. See what we got going on. I see something about Julian Michaels right now. She getting all upset that D.L. Hughley called her a bigot. Well, whatever. Julian Michaels is pathetic, yo. So whatever. She is ashamed of herself. You know, you can't sit around here and act like you ain't what you is. So okay, let me go ahead and get this thing off. Let me get them back on here real quick. Okay, let me do this real quick. Okay. I was gonna talk about. I just saw that thing with Julian Michaels. With her and D.L. Hughley. Well, I hope he just roast her behind up. She old bigot, so she need to be roasted. But I'm not gonna talk about that now. I'm gonna talk about this Kobe Bryant thing. He just said would have been celebrating his 47th birthday. As we know, we lost him 5 years ago. But the word is a movie. I think Vanessa Bryant is co-signing it. And you know, I did a video and I asked the question, do you want to see anything about Kobe? Um, he was a very polarizing guy. But I will say this, if I take all things out of consideration, he's probably, to me, the second most important Los Angeles Laker. I would give him that after Magic. And I'd say they're the two most visible. Them and with Jerry West is most visible. But very polarizing cat. Because if you were to tell his story, uh, it's got a dark side. It's got a lot of components. Hello, how you doing? So are we ready for a Kobe Bryant movie? Yo, what's happening? How you doing? That's a good way to get your butt thrown out of here for good. So I don't do that. So you talk that talk, you take that trolling somewhere else. What's happening? Good to see you. Thank you for coming through. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Tell me where you're coming from today. I'm glad that you're on board today. Thank you for making a visit. I just got on. I don't know what that David W. trash was, but we got that up out of here. I do have a reputation that predates me because I speak my mind and I speak out on different things, and I'm not going to back down. I'm doing good. Just chilling, just getting on here, doing some live streaming. Doing good, feeling blessed, having a good day. How about yourself? How about yourself? I'm be very curious about this poll and how this goes because this is going to be real interesting. Um, you know, see what people come on. I know some people across the depends on where they are. They're celebrating a holiday, so wishing people a happy holiday. Some people are back in school. Some people gearing up for school. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Could be Monday morning, afternoon, Monday night. Could be early Tuesday. Wherever you're coming in the world, thank you for coming through. Glad to have you coming through. And if you feel like stating who you are and where you're from, I'll give you a shout out. And we can go from there. But yes, I thought I'd mention about the Kobe Bryant situation because that's the latest where the story of a movie. He's a very compelling story. I got the hat on the West Coast. in the United States. Had it for quite some time. And I decided to kind of flip it the way I rock it. What's up? Glad to have you here. Thank you for coming on. Timing is everything. I'm not going to be here tomorrow because I got to go out tomorrow. So that's why I want to do this today. I did a video about it. It's coming tomorrow. Be on the lookout. No, I lived there and I had gotten this hat quite some time ago. So it was been sitting in it was sitting in the crib for a long time. I've had the hat for years. Just take care of it. That's all. Yeah, I did a video about that, Ted. It's coming tomorrow. Watch my videos. Give me let me know. I did the video. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Thank you for the sub and appreciate you coming through. Yeah, Ted, I had you have a great day too. Thank you for coming through. Hope to see you again soon. Next time we'll talk some more. Thank you for coming through. So Ted, yeah, I did a video about that today. I was gonna put it out today. It's already it's going tomorrow. But I had to really sit down on Silo. But I expressed myself where I just yeah, I saw that mess. And they mad about the inside and all that. That's got nothing to do with it. They need to change the whole name because that name alone would be considered offensive. But that's another story though. When I lived in Hampton, Virginia, we had one for way back in the day. And we showed down. I think I had some of my family members that went by there, but I just couldn't really get with it. It just was one of those kind of places that was kind of there. It wasn't, my cup of tea. But, I was in Hampton. I remember it was on Mercury Boulevard. They had that thing sitting there, like, it sat there on the side of the road, like, so, but anyway, people crying about a logo. They need to be crying about those tariffs. They need to be crying about, what your so-called, I'm not surprised. Well, I don't go out. I don't really mess with too many eateries anyway, and I'm funny about where if I was to eat food places, and I pick like my times if I was to go to places. So that's problematic, but it just didn't appeal to me at all. So I'm not surprised though. Mm-mm. Yeah. Hope your friend got some money out of it. But the silo thing, I did a video. You'll get to see it tomorrow. And I went in that he got to be cool. I heard about it. I got to watch it. I'm going to watch that video. Well, you know one thing? That will be the end of his livelihood then. Because they have a routine there. And Betty did too. So I saw it. It came through on my thing, but I didn't go all the way in on it. So I'll peep it out. And I might make a video of it. But I know one thing. One thing you got to understand about pro wrestling. It's like cheerleaders and models. You mess up with the money ones, your butt will never have to worry about working again. Oh, you will pay. Especially if it's somebody that's a money maker. What's happening? How you doing? If you're a money maker, your butt's gonna have to pay. So, but I wanted to address this Kobe Bryant thing. And what you think, Ted, with the Kobe Bryant thing? You down with a movie now, or do you think it's too soon? I say Vanessa's behind it. He's very polarizing. There's a lot with Kobe, y'all. A lot. I bet you there's gonna be a lot of poll on this one too. No, I'm gonna tell you now because hockey is a white sport. Golf, tennis, I beg to differ. And then you remember when Tiger started dominating, they made it Tiger proof. So no, it's not the only one, but I know what you mean by what you say. I know what you mean by what you say because the TV wrestling. Yeah, I think it's much too soon. I think he ain't been gone 5 years. I don't know if I want all that. And plus, there's certain things with him you gotta have to Disney it up. And how do you clean it up? There's a lot of stuff with him that, he was polarizing, intriguing, charismatic, had a cutthroat nature. It's a lot of elements with him. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know. And some people I encounter like to romanticize him, certain things. Me and him, it was kind of like he's like the cat that you dug, but then you didn't. I love his work ethic, and I was there. What's up? How you doing? What's happening? Because I remember everything verbatim. I remember when Brandy. I remember when he was Brandy's friend. That's how far back I go with Kobe. He's wearing them black glasses, and he says, "I'm gonna take my talents to the NBA." And I remember. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who we used to play together. We played pickup ball together, and he tried to pull that mess with me, and he always wanted to clap. I said, "Look, you ain't no Baptist preacher. You're there trying to play like you Kobe out here." I said, "No." I said, "See, that he emulated a lot of things of Jordan, but he wasn't Jordan. First of all, Jordan was smarter with taking higher percentage shots. Kobe took them circus shots, and sometimes Kobe would just shoot himself to shoot himself, and he didn't understand the visual aspect of the game. Because if it took Shaq's stepfather said it best, if the guy could see the floor, yep, he could see the floor, he would have been scary. But he did take bad shots, and he pouted and mounted. And that's the thing. That's why he can never be in my top 2 to 3. Him nor LeBron can be my top 2 to 3. I got him over LeBron overall, but neither one will ever be my top 3 or 4 or 5 because I experienced a lot of his selfishness. He was stuck up, and he did some stupid stuff. Most of my stuff with him is on the court. I'm not gonna veer on him personal. Yeah, but the difference between him and Jordan is that Jordan was always aggressive to the hole. Jordan shot. When they moved the 3-point line in, that's when he had his best 3-point shooting. He wasn't trying to make a living shooting threes. He wasn't trying to make a living of fading from you. He took it to you. And he utilized the components he had. He just was a smarter player. Kobe was an athletic freak. And he made himself even better when he got that outside shot. But he took some circus shots and he did some things that. Well, yeah, well, what happened was after he had that Achilles thing in 2013, that was pretty much it. And he never was the same. But when they got swept by Dallas, that was the end of it. I mean, I was the first person to say he could have pretty much quit after he got the fifth ring because after 2010, it took everything to win that chip, and he was on the downside of his career. And when they got swept by Dallas, he got hurt. That's the year with Nash, Dwight Howard, and D'Antoni was a fiasco freak show, and it didn't work. And he was on the downside. So, you know, but he was definitely like the boy wonder for a moment. I mean, he had everything kind of, he had that kind of thing go his way in certain ways, certain things. But sometimes there are people who romanticize stuff that I remember differently. Because I got a good memory of the games where he definitely did things on purpose, which I held against him, and I can't not hold it against him because I saw him actually quit on his team and pouted and mouted. And he did want out of LA, but I don't know how bad he wanted out of LA. I know that the Lamar Odom thing didn't work like it should have. That Scottie Pippen thing with him and was not going to work. He need to have a low post big presence, and that's a fact. So that's all. So, but anyway, people romanticize stuff, don't? Mm-hmm. Oh, you sent me another. I see. My thing isn't coming through. I got to see this because it's not. Thoughts on Nick Fuentes giving him. I didn't see it. I have to see it. Well, she's mixed with half Neeg and Negro. That's all. First of all, she could call herself whatever she wants to. They don't want her. Okay? Nobody wants her. You know, it was nice while it lasted, but who gonna put the money up for her? Who's putting the money up? Yeah, I've seen some of Runaway Slave. Some things I like he puts on there. Some things. Some things. And sometimes I watch. Um, I don't like talking about it because I know that, she's from Pillar to Post. No, they don't mind. See, this is the thing. Let me explain something. They like to make fun of you by using you because they see you at your most vulnerable, at your most, you're like jelly. But the problem is that what gets the buck dancers, what gets them in trouble? They got that look on their face like, well, I did what I supposed to do. Are you going to accept me? And see, that's what get them in trouble. See, when you shuffleboarding, they don't have no problem because you're not asking for half. But see, you're going to be a shuffleboarder. You got the audacity to turn, so can I get half? Well, how you doing? Welcome aboard. Thank you for coming through. Oh, they don't get just cocky. They think they part of the house, so they won't put their feet on your table. They don't trust them at all. Shoot, I work with a cat that did that whole shuffling, and the white dude was looking at him all bugged eyed. Mind you, the tricks. Oh, I seen it up close, and I seen it multiple times, and it's sickening. See, because I got in trouble because I was the militant one. Oh, so like me and the dude that was a manager couldn't stand each other, yo. So the dude I work with, cause I remember this cat. He called himself Bootsy. That was his name. A musician, and he act like he was a local low budget pimp. So anyway, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, everything is great." And every time the dude was like, "I don't know where you," but I'll say this right. If he say ha ha ha, that turkey be like ha 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 ha. I'm like, man, come on now. And I knew what he was doing. I was looking at this cat like, and then I had another buddy of mine. One time we were on the phone talking, right? Because you know how you cool with people, right? And I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you about this other cat I was cool with. So we talking one time on the phone because we used to kick it, just cats talking, right? He told me, he said, sometimes you gotta suck up and kiss up. I'm like, say what? I was like, what'd you say? Man, my phone went. He said, anybody there? He did a Rod Park on me. He said, this phone still on? I said, no, I think I'm getting an emergency breakthrough. I didn't hear what I thought I heard you say. I was like, I don't play that. As far as the other dude, yeah, the white cat let him. Thank you, Ted. Appreciate the endorsement. Always. The cat that I work with that pulled that stunt, he was trying to he got caught up with some girl because I think he was paying some child support or something. So that buttery thing went off the road. But then the white dude actually got spoon fed by him because he liked it. He looked at me with this thing, but he thought he's a good one. See, that's what happened. I thought this dude didn't he didn't try to pull a sheet over your head, but you already got one on your head, and you just can't see the other sheet he's pulling. Yeah, well, he liked it for his ego. See, sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes if you shuffle enough, and you got them fooled, they happier. And they'll take it and think, oh, okay, we got one. But the ones that are smart don't like it. Yeah, because people say stuff in ways that is so ignorant. I had a white woman, tell me about. She told a white coworker about me because she said that he don't sound like them. The way I articulate, I'm like, oh God, don't say no ignorant stuff like that. Please don't say it ignorant like that. She was petrified because I was carpooling with one of my jobs I had, and she was picking me up, and I gave her money for gas. She got involved with one of these bigoted dudes. That was a crazy story. That was strange. I ended up getting a ride with my homeboy, and things worked itself out. But that whole thing was strange, though. The whole thing was strange. And she told me the dude was a bigot too, but that was strange. But you know, and like usually she was one of those ones who she was a Prince fan and she had Purple Rain soundtracks and she was like, "Oh," and because they and that's a story with that too because they also think if they like a black artist that's accessible, that doesn't that gives them a token pass. It's another funny. I got some funny Prince stories, some funny stories because they don't want us because the Sanders boys got they. I told you they got dirt on their name. I got a video coming out about Silo tomorrow. It's all gonna be on there. These guys are under more scrutiny than you can imagine. You think their last name was Kaepernick? Yep. Well, Eric Dickerson came out and said that. He never said who his reliable source was, but he came out and said that because they wanted Dion. See, and I'm telling you, you'll see my video. I lit up about the Manning brothers too. Who's he dating? He ain't dating Rossi though, unless he's dating Rossi. They said they weren't messing around. Who he dating? Because I know he was doing that corny online show with Rossi. Please don't tell me it's Rossi though. Whatever you do, don't say Rossi. Because Rossi been spread around. She's yeah, how you doing? It's been a minute, but how you doing? Oh, I don't know who that is. No, because I know I say, as long as he ain't dating Rossi though. I was on TV's live before. Okay. I remember your name. Yeah, I remember the name. It's a distinctive name. Yeah, thank you for coming back. Now, I don't know who he dating. I know he likes a lot of 304s though. That's a fact. Because when he messed with Tracy Ellis, Tracy Edmond, that whole thing. Her? Ah, that used to be Breezy's ex. Oh, for real? Oh God. Oh wow. Yeah, I remember you. I remember when you were here before. Oh, for real, Ted say it ain't so. Cause that's the one that was Breezy's baby mama. Some oh wow. Wow. No wonder they be oh man, that industry is stank, man. Wow. So he didn't want to mess with Rossi, but he went it up with her. Wow. Mm. Yeah, I got you. 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 Got you. Got you. Where you at, Ted? You got quiet on me. Dang, I can't believe that. Mm. Well, the main thing he's halfway healthy again now. What do you say about Kobe? Oh yeah, yeah. Kid did because um um Krzyzewski didn't want LeBron there. That's the story I heard about that. Yeah, they didn't really want him at the time. LeBron had some developmental issues coming up. We talking about sports. We talking about me. We talking about whatever. Oh yeah, he worked his butt off because he made himself a better guy. And then a lot of it starting at Utah series when he shot them air balls. You were too young to see it or understand it, but he got in the gym. That was the turning point. Jack the Ripper, because Jack the Ripper is still a standard for that. Charlene will give you some distinctive questions over there, and Ted and I'll be talking about sports and different things. We got a wide variety, and whatever you want to talk about, feel free to chime. Cover a wide range of topics. There's one thing about on this channel you can bank on. We get political because we talk about Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, and we talk about race, we talk about class, we talk about whatever. There's no limits on here. Just don't be vulgar and disrespectful, and we won't have no problems. Because I do put people out if they say stuff that don't be not only just appropriate but dignified. So sometimes I have to like. I think that he's one of the most underappreciated rappers ever, but I think that record was trash and a garbage and a half. And he performed in London and they didn't even clap for half that garbage he put out. No, he's trying to show a machismo side because everybody knows he's a Twinkie. His wife punked him, and I mean, come on now. When robots become I don't know. The music, because they are in everything. We communicate because of robots. So the chip, so it's almost like it's in part of everything. They doing the AI thing, so you tell me. Yeah, he did. Sure. How would you feel if you marriage and you married a woman, right? And her best friend was Tupac, and she got her a room with his poster hanging over y'all bed, and you got to look at that thing for like 38 years, and he been gone for 39, and you just oh Pac, oh Pac, oh Pac, and you just that's all you get. I don't know. I'm not trying to find out. They do too much Android, all that stuff now. They all strange. They all strange. Shoot, I would love to see what the butler. Hello, how you doing? I'd love to see what the butler and the housekeeper stories is like, because I bet if that book ever came out, that stuff would be crazy. Oh no, we don't do stuff like that here. So, wrong channel. I don't want none of that. I don't want that kind of messaging on here. You take that to somewhere else. They're gonna dominate music and movies. They're gonna dominate the first two because movies already, after the Matrix, everything with the droid, that whole thing is there. And now they can AI and filter face you, so they do that. And then music is already there because with the synthesizers, the programming, the beats, that's changed the landscape there. So it's already infiltrated. Sports will be when it becomes to electronic referees and stuff like that. Um, I'm just hoping we can be in the top 6 or 7. I don't have no expectations because I don't know how it's gonna be. We're gonna tear y'all butt up if nothing else, but other than that, I hope. Well, they want Texas to be the top dog, and they will play good for about 8, 9 weeks. Texas got the same disease that Penn State's got, except when they got to go against somebody that can tear their behind up. They good for them 8, 9, 10 wins. Shoot, Georgia gonna be interesting how they come back this year. They're gonna be a few, you know, you know. He ain't got no clause in his contract because he got the chip. Now, if they didn't win the chip last year, his butt wouldn't have to worry about a clause. He'd be dressing up like Santa Claus. But since he got the chip, it ain't no thing. No, he ain't. You just got the win the chip. You ain't gonna fire him. You tripping. Now, if you hadn't won the chip last year, he'd be fired. Had y'all been playing for the Tonka Bowl or the Toys R Us Bowl? Yeah. But since y'all got a chip, you ain't firing him. You'd be stupid too. Because you really got lucky to get that chip. When you lost to Oregon and you got that rematch, everything fell in your lap. That don't usually happen that way. So don't do nothing stupid. Could be a long time for you see another chip again, which would be fine by me though. Cause I know we got to go through y'all. Everybody got to go through Ohio State. Welcome back. I'm not stupid. I might not like y'all, but I respect y'all. I know what's up. I'm always rooting for y'all to get y'all butt toe up, but because I know we have to deal with y'all. I don't want to think about him because yeah, sometimes it's the computer and sometimes it's the phone. That's all. It's live though. I don't want to think about Arch because he gonna get the hookup. Don't be loud. Don't be. I'm hitting my putting my stuff out for people to come and check it out. So he didn't really blow me away with what I saw last year, but he's got the right last name. New Orleans Saints are going to tank, and they're going to draft him. And he's not going to put a puff face. Of course they will. The fix is on. Can't you tell? The fix is on. You know good and well that if he gets drafted by Arizona or Carolina, he'll make that stank face like his Uncle Eli did. Almost all of them, Charlene. I bet you if he go to Cleveland, they'll pick him up day one. How much you won't bet? I bet you cash money. He get. I bet you he won't have to wait no 3-4 days. I bet you won't be no 72-hour wait. How much you won't bet? And do I think he's as good as Shador? No, but he got the right last name and he got the right complexion. Most singers, Charlene, if you want my honest opinion, most of them stink, but we tolerate them. He won't go. He won't go. He won't go. But you know what? Um, you know what? They would they draft him. If they draft him, I bet you he won't throw no stank up, but he won't go. Everybody knows the NFL is fixed. It's tough for me because I was a fan. I grew up on it. Like if I was coming along now, I don't even know if I could even stomach it because of how racist they are. They're blatant with this mess. First of all, when Joe Flacco is still dangling as a starting quarterback, you know something is wrong. Joe Flacco ain't got no business starting nowhere. He's good. Watch. You're gonna watch what he gonna do. He always starts off the season good, then he starts to tank after Halloween. Then he basically becomes a pumpkin. And then he might emerge back in January. If he gets that far, which he won't, you know. But no, they, but no, Charlene, the most of the singers got a stank attitude. I don't know. I have to look that up. I don't know. But I know it's gonna be kind of low key though. I bet he'll get a better chance though than his dad did. I'll tell you that. But he'll still go through some red tape though. Well, if anything, you probably get, I could probably see the Raiders or somewhere like that probably taking him if they see something in him. I can't really read a whole lot into it. Again, the NFL has changed so much, so you never know. Mhm. Oh yeah, he ain't gonna he. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. He ain't definitely ain't getting no NFL run if he's 29. Unless you Chris Winky. You remember Chris Winky? Chris Winky was the only cat that was like 35 and they let him come to the NFL. Most time at quarterback, you got to be there about 22, 23. remember Chris Winkie was like 35 and a senior. I think negative low energy is always gonna win out. Tacky, smell like onions, just tough and being loud and know. But if your energy is low and your vibe is low, it's gonna turn the room. We don't really talk about it much because there's no age range. I guess as long as it ain't like the Little League World Series, that you ain't like that. You remember that picture that was in the Little League World Series, that the left-handed kid, and that cat was like 25, and he was in there playing like he's 14, and he was striking cats out, and had all kinds of pitches. As long as you ain't doing that, then I guess because nowadays you getting the LI, you're getting paid, so sure, why not? I mean, why not? It depends on who you playing for too. Because if you in college football and you're playing for like Ohio State or so, you playing for someone that wins chips, or you're with a USC, or you know someone like that, or Miami or something. You sit there for like 20 years. I mean, college football and college sports ain't nothing but minor league. The minor league institutes for the pros. People need to get up off of it now. Why would he talk to him? Let me give you a few reasons. Let me give you my thoughts on that. Luca is somehow acting like he's brand new. He's embarrassing. I did the video already. I'm not impressed because he's fresh and fitty. Shoot, you sat there in game 3, fat boy eating burgers and drinking beer, and your butt couldn't move past half court. And LeBron had to halfway put some points up. Well, he actually do treat brothers like janitors, if you know about that owner. I did a video about him. He owns some of them prisons and some of them locked facilities when the ISIS. So, well, he old, yo. He old. What you expect out of a 40-plus-year-old guy at this stage? And let me tell you something. He didn't got coaches fired, chain squads, and they got a bubble ring and a playing tournament to show for all that. All them stat pads. So what you expect? I did a video about that already. It ain't gonna do nothing. Because him and Steph are past the pool date. They'll have a couple little moments. But that train didn't gone. It didn't left the docks. What did D Wade say? What did D Wade say? I haven't heard it, so tell me, what did he say? If this was about 5 or 6 years ago, that might have been worth something. What did he say? Oh, about the Paul Gasol thing in 2010. If that's what you're talking about, well, I wouldn't say anyone could have. I'll say this: he stunk Game 7, 6 out of 24. I remember that. But they don't win that finals without him. I'll say that. Paul Gasol played really good. I can't, it was an ugly, complicated series, to be honest with you. Welcome aboard. Well, in his defense, I'm going to say this in his defense. To me, he and Kobe were like the same head of a different coin. Thank you. Let me explain this so you get mad, Ted. I'll tell you what I mean. Hello, good. Welcome aboard, Ann. If you gave D Wade a great player like Shaq, he wins multiple rings. They almost went back to back the year they got hurt in 05 against the Pistons. So I believe that he could. I don't think that's hate, because he's the one guy who did win with Shaq, who did have success with Shaq. This is Kobe did. And Kobe without Shaq until they got Paul Gasol was what? Where Dwayne Wade was. See, when I say that they're tied for the second best two guard for me, their styles were different but similar. They were closest to each other. And even Scottie Pippen said he used to go back and forth who was the best of those two, because A healthy D Wade could hang with Kobe. He just couldn't shoot the three ball. Oh, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell ain't nothing like the real thing. They're the goats to me. Marvin and Tammy, to me. And if I'm going in a modern era, Rick James and Tina Marie. And if I'm going by a powerful duo, Ashford and Simpson. Okay, so those are my main three. If I'm going by the last 30 years, babyface Tony Braxton. Chemistry is crazy. Crazy chemistry. Crazy chemistry. Those will come to mind. So now D Wade for me ain't lying because with the triangle, with the structure, he did understand Shaq. He played off of him. He played with him. I don't have a problem if he said that because basically the five ranked the three he did win with Shaq. They were in two Eastern Conference Finals. They almost were in two straight finals. So it him saying that don't bother me. Tracy McGrady saying some stupid. I don't know about no five rings, but I'd say you could pretty much win two or three with Shaq and D Wade. I could see that because D Wade's the kind of guy that his ego wasn't so where you could play with him. So I don't have a problem with him saying that. It's not because I'm a big fan of his, which I was a big fan of D Wade. He could have. Phil Jackson's system would have been interesting with Dwayne Wade. I think he'd have been real great in the triangle. Dwayne Wade would have been. Because he played off the ball. He could go back and forth. And his structure and style would have loaned itself. The only problem with Dwayne Wade is that not just the injuries, but he wasn't a 3-point specialist. And that's where he may have ran into some problems. But would have been interesting. Would have been interesting. So I can't say he would won, he because he did. He won with Shaq. And had he got to play with Shaq, had they won multiple, because they almost did. They were in two straight East Conference Finals. And that's when Shaq could have got robbed of an MVP. Then Nash got that one. So, and Dwayne Wade could have probably been a four. So that's not a far fetch if you go it from that logic. Because Dwayne Wade peaked is 2005 to 2009, was there ever a song where a duo group? Hmm. Yeah, Brian McKnight and Boys to Men. Let It Snow. I don't know why it's the only one that's coming to my head off the top, but yeah. One Sweet Day, Boys to Men, Mariah Carey. Yeah, you've had that before. Um, Jackson 5 and Steve Wonder too. Okay, a duo. Let me think a duo. Since you're being technical, let me think. Hmm. 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 Nah, I can't think of nothing off that offhand. I can't think of nothing offhand. I'm gonna get back on that one. I never been asked that question before. I think that back in the day, you'd have to have the right voices and the right thing. I can say that if you talk about songwriting, then yes. If you mention Ashford and Simpson with Shaka Khan, I could tell you that. But as far as like them all singing together, you know. That's an interesting question that you asked, though. But anyway, Ted, that's my thoughts on that. Okay, Outcast came after Kid and Play. There you go. That used to be the thing. There were duos and there were trios. You had a few. Wait, what's up, TSP? Thank you. What's happening? Yeah, I think it's a bit much. I'm not. Eh-eh. And not only that, but people need some time to. Some people are still mourning him. Some people are still questioning him. He's a very polarizing cat. There's a lot of angles with how do you pull because let's tell you like this, the Michael Jackson movie is gonna have a lot of twists and turns. Well, Kobe Bryant would too. Some people, if you go, you have to put it in a way where it would balance everything, and I just think that you got a fine line. It's a fine line with how you do it. So I don't know. You know, I'm with you on that though. Give me another 5 or 10 years, and then I could probably see it. But right now, it's too soon. And that's what most people are saying on this message board today. They don't want. I don't think it should be. And I'm not gonna be dealing with no trolls. So you can, like I tell people all the time, you can't come on here trolling. People come on here act like I'm just like this is a hot house to troll. That's not what's up. Okay. See, that's the other problem. No, no, because Vanessa Bryant's gonna have control of it though. I think he was subjected to some abuse. I think that he was fighting demons inside his persona. And it's such a waste too, because that cat was a freak of a talent. And I think, in my personal opinion, he would have been better than Grunk. I think that he gave you more versatile looks. It's just that he ran them streets and he was running from demons, and that's what happened. And it's a shame too. But now, because if Rich Paul and Clutch is doing it, then it's gonna be like one of them Wayne's parodies. Yeah, it was a waste. You can't, it's tough to cite somebody that's got a God given talent, and you think on the surface he's got, and then it just goes for naught. But he did leave a daughter behind, and bless her soul. Oh, we got quite a bit of votes today. This is great. This is one of the better. I'm so glad I came on here today. The polls is lighting up. And like I said, I'll be back again on Wednesday. I'm still gonna be here for another 15, 20 minutes today. Be back on Wednesday, but this is great though. We got some real good feedback up in here. Turn this thing on. Okay. Keep them likes coming and keep on talking. Yeah, he just you know, like I said before, again, some of these cats, identity, and I told Ted and I've told some of the people, you'd be surprised some of these cats get tampered with and then they just never recover from it. Well, she ended up getting some money. I because that so when they happen to fight for their masters and crying on TV and still talking about it, this is their karma. They did Spinderella wrong. And I liked them a lot. Dug them girls, thought they were bad, but they janky with their business, so I can't feel sorry for them. Spinderella definitely deserves her flowers. I understand how the whole thing with Herbie Love Bug and all that, but you know, they wrong for not including Spinderella. They wrong for that. That's how I feel. So they. Yeah, but if you got somebody that's a part of integral part of your group, you gotta acknowledge them. If you don't acknowledge them, it's not a good look. It makes you look like you're greedy and selfish, and that's the problem that they run into because you ask, and I'm just telling you my feelings. I'm just stating. Okay. Yeah, it's called the Roots. Oh, a duo. Oh, Outcast. Outcast. And I didn't see them do it on stage per se, but Eric B and Rakim was a sax player. Um, it's happened. Hmm. So Outcast. Mm, hmm. If you consider a turntable an instrument, you got Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Jazzy Jeff was on the turntable, so depends on what you consider. Okay. All right, let's see where everybody done gone to. Everybody got kind of quiet, so I'm amazed. It might be like nonstop, and then it gets all quiet. I'll be on for a little while. I'll see if anybody wants to keep talking. None. None of them. Maybe if I maybe, just maybe I might say Chuck D. Maybe. That's about it. None of them, no. Two of them are bought and paid for. None of them. Like Malcolm X said, I can't depend on none of the entertainers or athletes to be that because they get bought and paid for. So can't get excited about them. Because he tapped into more social areas than LL did. LL is better rapper as far as that. They both had appeal with the ladies and the fellas. They both had street appeal. LL's got a better catalog. But Pac was able to tap into. Pac had a style where he was able to talk to folks in a way that people could relate to more so. People grew up on LL. LL was the first rapper that during the Big Willie era with the Bigger and Deffer went more materialistic and it nearly cost him his career. He came back, Mama said, knock you out. He's the first cat I saw who faced the backlash with the old school and the new school. So he had that going for him. There's not been another rapper that had to go through what he went through with that. But Pac was had a worldly more appeal with his subject matter. And he connected. But I think they both like in the upper tiers as far as that. Like I said, Els got the better catalog. And I think he had a better, more impact as a rapper as far as the skill set. But the Pac thing is because he connected with the people. And LL, sometimes his stuff was kind of camouflage where it was either sing along, get along. He didn't have a lot of songs where he really attacked anything. And I'm talking about social economic. I'm not talking about attacking a fellow rapper or how big your jury is and all that, because he pretty much fell into a box. Booming System is one of the few times. Well, because you're making people have something sensual. You're not being all just raw and, is the way that you present it. That's what makes the difference. And it's also that you have to be considerate and kind and tender and humble and, and show affection and things. Whereas the other stuff is just meat market specialty, area code, and we're just gonna go just rip and tear. So there's the difference right there. So it's up to the listeners though. hmm The listeners have to demand more. They can't count on the business to demand it for them. So that's how I look at it. And again, you can say stuff metaphorically without being vulgar. And so when people learn that, they actually expand their vocabulary to say the same thing. Well, most of them don't. And of course, the industry nowadays don't just pushes the more vile stuff. So they can talk about police brutality. They can talk about institutionalized systematic racism. They can talk about their neighborhood. They can talk about somebody that lifted their spirits. There's a lot of stuff you can talk about. It's just that it doesn't sell. The industry doesn't want that. They generally tell these cats what to do, that they own them, and that don't usually work because what they end up doing is they get like a boutique label, but they already ran that off. You know the story about Jay Prince, Suge Knight, Jay Z. Someone tipped off the feds and Irv Gotti. They were all gonna form a publishing. That's where the money's at, marketing. Because all you need with the business is that if you have your marketing, you have the distribution. That's where the money's at. So, but you see, that stuff's irrelevant because the big boys don't share and they don't care about your success. So this is consequently what you get. That's what you get. Okay, I got 9 more minutes before I'm gonna call it a day because I can tell that it's gotten quiet again. But they want to, but they can't. You know. So real entrepreneurship will not include you working for none of them plantations in the motion in the entertainment industry and the sports world. Mm. All right. Mm. Yeah. Love. They used to. Singers used to talk about feeling vulnerable. You know, you don't get rappers doing that. There's a big gap. Your singers talking about a house on a hill and settling down and being cozy. You don't get that. Smooth Criminal. And you're not gonna say Heartbreak Hotel, Dirty Diana. So now, Bad didn't have enough punch to be gangster. I mean, he said he was bad and it was cool, but no. Billie Jean was rough because it was smooth more than it was smooth more than gangster because the storyline he got out of it. Gangster ain't just based on the storyline, it's how the song, the story, the narrative, how everything hits you. And no, stop. Um no. But anyway. I'm not gonna even dignify that. I am not gonna even dignify that remark. That's troll 101 there. Hmm. Okay, 5 more minutes and Scarface. All the gangster type of films, Scarface. I saw somebody, but you know what? Let me let you on a story. Good thing you came back because I got about 4 or 5 minutes before I go. Because you keep talking, I'll talk. But if nobody don't talk, I got to strut. I don't have to watch it because I lived it. I mean, what you want to know? I know about the White House. Michael Irvin was always like a bad luck. Every time they had a bust, he was always in the middle of the White House or doing something wrong. I know about Nate Newton with the Coke in the van, the Scooby van. Eric Williams had the girl say she had consented. They had wild times. They were wild. And, Charles Haley Dion came over. Detroit man had his issue with him. You know, Michael Irvin was still partying from Miami. Emmett Smith was, I mean, it was wild. It was wild. And the only thing is it makes Jerry Jones look like a buffoon because he was sitting on an empire and he cashed in, but he's probably got to shake his head. Think 30 years ago, and I'm where I'm. Oh, it does. Well, for common sense, because at least they kept the right head coach and they didn't mess up their situation. Jerry Jones messed up a sure thing. Um, I think Madonna because she really hit that on the point. Michael had more originality what he did, but I got to give Madonna one. So it's true. Jerry Jones messed that whole thing up with Dallas, and he had a dynasty, and he got greedy. And when you get on TV and say, "I can get 49 other guys to come and coach this team," well, somebody listens to you. Didn't turn out that well for him, though. It's just take, just take, just take. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about that, though. So again, I'll be back on Wednesday. Yeah, he had plenty of them. He did Living in America. He did Gravity. He had quite a few music videos. Static with Full Force. You have to look him up. Quite a few. A little Richard, a little bit, and probably Ray Charles and the Church. There's quite a few people. But when he concocted it all together, it was unlike anybody else, though. Let's see, that's not no big thing. And what you want me to do with him signing with Washington? 96 milli though. for him. Wow. You talking about you're not talking about the basketball player. Who you talking about? You can't I hope you talking about the wide receiver. I'm getting ready to say. Because then again, the NBA, they do pay that kind of bread, though. I can tell you when second and third tier turkeys is getting paid like, you know. Oh, okay. That's scary too. Because there's only one scary terrier I know, and it was in the NBA. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good deal. Well, he was talking about not coming back, so that's good. They're going to keep their nucleus. Okay. Yeah, it's a good look. Sure. Mm. I don't know. Hmm. Mm, that's hard to say. Some of it's gonna pertain to Michael Jackson, but there's gonna be somebody else that did some stuff too, and I just can't think right now. I said, you know, take care of it later. Just thinking. Okay. hmm Um, Julie Watley and Rakim, want to say friends. Yeah, it was no, it was before that. Jody Watley and Rakim. That was a duet. And then don't forget No More Lives with Miss Cholet and Dr. Dre. That predated Mary and Grand Pooba. Let me see. Yeah, I'd already see which one it was. That's how I remembered it. Mm-hmm. She didn't have enough track record. They didn't put no money on her. She had that Daffy Duck mouse, the talk, and people got turned off by her. She was black, so yeah. She was good, but it's just that voice and the songs were, which I liked. They were cool, but no one was gonna put no money on her. They just kind of treated her like a novelty. It was kind of like a. So I hate to say it, but that's kind of how it went. I liked her first record. So yeah. Okay, we're gonna make it about 3 more minutes, and this time I'll be for real. I'll be like an hour and 20. So again, I won't be on tomorrow, but I'll be on Wednesday. Probably getting back around this time tomorrow, so it would be kind of futile. Mm-hmm. There we that had a great poll today. So appreciate when it took part. And this is another good successful show. That wouldn't take much to surpass her. I mean, that's not that deep, you know. I don't think neither one could surpass each other if they had a roadmap to get by one another. I think they two pieces of the same pie. Um, Meg the Stallion, but I don't like neither one of them. Though. I'm not feeling either one of them. Okay. All right. We're coming to the home stretch, and I appreciate one that came through today and left your words of wisdom and sure made my day and so much going on. Right. Uh, anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. Appreciate everybody that came through today. Thank you so much. And we back on Wednesday. You said you probably come back on Wednesday last time I talked to you, so Wednesday will be our day. I'll come back Wednesday. So, because I got to give myself 3 days of live stream. So, that's the other thing I do too. So, I'll be back on 2 more times the rest of the week. And it'll definitely probably be Tuesday. All right. Stay blessed, stay woke, stay fulfilled. Appreciate everybody. Yep. I told you Meg the Stallion, and I don't want to talk about them, but Meg by default. All right, I'm out. Peace.